welcome to Lower Body Express. My name is Cameron. Today we're going to be doing some body weight exercises and we'll use a chair for support. Both support seated, like so, and support either with the hands on the seat or the back of the chair. We're not going to use the chair for our warm-up though, so go ahead and start standing off to the side. I'm not wearing shoes because I don't want to hurt my carpet, but if you want more support for your feet or your knees, or if you're on a different surface, I highly recommend wearing shoes. So we're going to start just stepping side to side, getting the blood flow down to the lower extremities. Maybe go ahead and roll out your shoulders. Get your mind ready to move. And let's take those legs up behind. We're going to kick the heels up towards the glutes. Good, you can squeeze your shoulder blades behind you. Move those arms as well. Always landing softly on the feet to protect the knees. And let's take those knees up in front now. Getting them up as high as you can. Activating our hip flexors, getting a little stretch for the hamstrings and the glutes. Good, now we're going to start with the feet about hip width apart, toes pointing forward, and we're just going to sit back on the chair and stand it up. So get used to the distance from the chair that you need to be. Get used to the movement. If you want to do this without the chair, that's fine as well. Two more here. Good. Now, hands to the hips, just to keep an eye on them essentially. Feet stay the same. We're going to hinge forward, out the hips, and then stand back up. Focus on keeping your spine neutral here. Have a nice, soft, slight bend in the legs. Working on activating and stretching those hamstrings. Doesn't matter how low you get with this. If your hinge only goes about halfway, that's fine. But we don't want to curve the back forward. Let's do one more. Good, okay, last warm-up move. Feet start about hip width apart. We're going to cross a leg behind, keeping the toes pointed forward, keeping the hips pointed forward, and curtsy squat. Good, step it out, other side. Curtsy. Good, notice you can sit back a little bit into that squat. Good, one more each side. All right, go ahead and roll out anything else you need, and I'm going to talk about our workout today. So we have 5 combination movements today. A lot of them are single-sided, so we're going to do 8 repetitions on each side. Then by the end of the workout, you'll be able to rewind, and you can do another 1 or 2 sets. So to sum up everything, that's going to be 8 rounds per set on each side, 2 to 3 sets. And if you want, you can change the amount of repetitions from anywhere from 5 to 10 repetitions per set, per leg. Right? So we're going to get started with our deadlift lunge combination. So to do this, you're going to put 1 foot forward, and one foot is going to be supported on the seat of your chair. Now you might need to scoot your foot forward a little bit and just kind of get used to the movement here. Make sure you have enough support as you lunge down and that your knee stays behind your toes, and that your heel can stay on the ground. Okay, so that's the lunge portion. For the deadlift portion, keep your hips pointed forward, and you're just going to hinge and lift. So similar to our warm-up, but we're going one leg at a time. You always have the option to do the same thing without the chair, using both legs instead. So let's get started with our first set. Choose a leg, and we're doing 8 reps. Good. On those deadlifts, make sure those hips are staying even with each other. It's very easy to want to rotate the hips, but to really get into that hamstring and glute, you want them to stay parallel. Again, anywhere from 5 to 10 repetitions here. There's my last one. Go ahead and shake out that leg, and we're going to do the other side. So same thing, check the distance from the chair. Put one foot up behind. And again, check that the knee doesn't go past the toes and that your heel stays on the ground. If you want a lower support or you want to just stay on the ground with your toe tapped, that's fine too. And begin. Always keep that nice soft bend in the knees. Pull in the core to keep the neutral spine. About halfway there. Slow, controlled movements. Last one. Keep those knees steady. And shake it out. Excellent work. All right. Grab some water if you need it. Now we're going to get a little bit more into the sides of our hips, our glutes, and our inner thighs. You won't need the chair for this one. We're going to start in our second plie position, which is toes out to the corners of the room, feet wider than hip width apart. So you should be able to plie here. You'll feel a stretch in your inner thighs. You'll feel a squeeze in your glutes. Keep your knees pointed the same direction as your toes. After we plie here, we're going to stand up and kick the other leg across. So see how it's crossed all the way to the other side of the body. And that's going to be working the inner thighs. We're going to do 8 reps on one side and then 8 reps on the other. And here we go. Plie, kick, soft landing. Always controlling the movement. Keep the leg straight on that kick. Pull in with the core. I believe I have one more. Good, rock out that hip and we're gonna do the other side. Starting with that plie. And controlled kick up. Slow and soft landings. Get low into that plie. Good squeeze with that inner thigh. Last two. Good, and shake those out. Okay, you should feel that burn in your inner thighs just a little bit. If you didn't feel it enough, you can maybe add a pulse on your next repetition. All right, now we're going to go to our curtsy, lunge, and knee lift. So for this one, you might want the stability of your chair back because we're going to be lifting one leg off the ground. So it's going to look like our warm-up curtsy, and then we're going to hike that knee up as high as is comfortable. Try to use your core and your hip flexors to get that knee up as high as you can without the assistance of your arms. And again, we're going to do 8 on each side. Get set, and here we go. Again, slow and controlled. Good, I'm going to change directions. You keep going the same way. This is just to show you the form of this curtsy from the side. 2 more. Good, lower down, shake that out. You can turn around or move your chair. Or we're gonna do the other side. Feel free to take one just to check the form, make sure your hips are pointing forward the whole time. You should feel this in the glute of your front leg when you're lowering into that curtsy. And get set, and here we go. Good, halfway there. Pulling in that core, keep your stability. Good, and lower down, shake out those legs. Excellent work. So now we are going to get the support either of the back of the chair, or if you want a little more work for your arms, you can hinge to put your arms on the seat of your chair. I prefer the back of the chair just for personal preference. What we're going to do here is step back far enough from your chair that you can lower your nose almost to the level of your hands if you're at the back of your chair, aiming for about parallel to the floor with your spine. So once you're lowered down here, nice soft bend in your knees. We're going to take one leg, bend that knee, and it's going to come up to the side, to center. We're going to kick it back to center. Okay? 8 on each side. And get set, pick a leg, and here we go. Doesn't matter how high your leg gets. I want you to focus here on using your hips, not your back, to lift your leg. You should also really feel this on the base leg, the one supporting you. Good, halfway there. Slow and controlled. Last 2. Good, and lower it down. Go ahead and shake out both of those legs. Now we're gonna switch to the other side. I'll go ahead and show you the other version this time. So get yourself supported. Slight bend in that base leg. Pick that other leg up. Pull in your core to level your spine. And here we go. Pick it up to the side and kick it back. Think about your head, your forehead being pulled forward here. You don't want to slouch over. Keep your entire body engaged. Belly button's pulled in towards the spine. Good, give me one more. And lower down, shake out those legs, good. Grab yourself some water. All right, we've got one more exercise before we repeat, if you choose to do so. And that's going to be our pistol squat to heel lift. So there's a couple of different options here. You're going to start with the squat down to your seat. You can do that with both legs if you want. If you want to do the pistol squat version, you can either balance on one toe for one leg, loading the weight into your base leg, or you can send that leg out in front and do the same movement. When you stand up to do the heel lift, again, your options are both legs, both heels lifting at the same time, balance on one foot to load the weight into your base foot, or send that leg out in front and keeping very careful control of your core, you can lift and lower on that one foot. Now, you might want to get support on a wall or something for that if you choose to do so. So again, 8 on each side. Get yourself set. I'll do a couple of each option. And here we go. Always the focus on slow, controlled movements. During that heel lift, keep your ankle in line. Don't let it wobble out to the side. Good, halfway there. If you need to adjust, that's always fine. Try not to rest into that chair, just use it as a guide. Good, shake that leg out. All right, we're gonna do the other side. Might as well just keep the chair the same way. Okay. Opposite leg, either toe tap out in front. Check yourself to see if you're at the right positioning from your chair. And let's begin. Good, keeping your eye on one point can help you keep your balance here. Pulling in your core can help you do so as well. Good, 3 more. Last one. And lower down, shake out those legs. Excellent work, everyone. So again, you can rewind this and do another round or 2 to make it 2 to 3 sets. You can also change the amount of reps from anywhere from 5 to 10. If you want to go ahead and rewind, feel free to do so now. Otherwise, we are going to start cooling down. So let's start with our side to side tap. Shake it out. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And let's put one foot forward, one foot back. And we're going to lean into that front foot for our calf stretch of the base leg. If you want here, You can use the chair for support, get a little more weight into that stretch. You can also cross that front leg behind instead. Good, reset those feet. If you moved them, stand that on up. And hands on the hips so you can feel the hips roll forward, stretching the hip flexor of the back leg. Good, slowing down that breathing. And go ahead and rock your weight back to your back leg now. Flex that front foot. And we're going to hinge at the hips to stretch the hamstring of that front leg. Right down the back of the leg. You'll notice you don't have to hinge very far to feel a stretch here. Keeping the heart above the hips. Good, rock the weight into that front leg. Now we're gonna pull the back leg up behind for our quad stretch. And feel free to grab the chair for this if you want support. Still keeping your tall posture, belly button pulled in towards the spine. Good, lower down out of that. And our last stretch for that side, we're gonna cross that leg over in a figure four, and then sit down into that glute stretch. Feeling it through the back and the sides of the hips of the crossed leg. And go ahead and stand on up from that. All right, other side. Send one leg back. Leaning into that calf stretch. Go ahead and stand up from that. Roll those hips forward for the hip flexor stretch of the back leg. Good, keep that up. Good, now shift the weight to that back leg. Flexing that front foot. Hinge forward for your hamstring stretch. Keep that elongated spine. Keep your head parallel to the floor approximately. And then step forward onto that leg and pull the opposite leg back for your quad stretch. Try and get those knees parallel to each other. Good, last stretch for this side. Cross the leg over, figure four. Support it if you need with your hands as you lower down into that glute stretch. Stand on up out of that. We have one more stretch. This is double-sided, so Nice wide stance here, feet pointed towards the corners. Lower down into that squat. And this time put pressure just above the knees on the thighs to stretch out your inner thighs here. Feel free to dip a shoulder. Deep breath to dip the other shoulder. And let's take 2 big deep breaths to end the practice. Big inhale up and exhale down. Inhale and exhale. And that is Lower Body Express for this week. Thank you all so much for joining, and thank you yourselves today for committing to doing this exercise at home. I know it can be difficult, and we hope to see you next time for another